Hey guys, welcome back on the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. And today guys, a busy market as always, big updates for you, many stories, and so we are ready to jump into it together.
Arsenal transfer, Bombshell, Julian Alvarez, situation, Martinelli future, and Nwaneri drama. Arsenal fans have every reason to be excited as the summer transfer window enters another important stage. The Gunners are still working on strengthening Mikel Arteta's squad, but at the same time there are growing questions about the futures of several current Arsenal players. Two of the biggest stories surrounding the club right now involve Gabriel Martinelli and Nwaneri, while Julian Alvarez continues to be linked with a possible move to the Emirates. However, it is important to make one thing clear from the beginning. There is currently no confirmed agreement between Arsenal and Julian Alvarez, and the situations surrounding Martinelli and Nwaneri are also developing stories rather than completed transfers. So what exactly is happening? Julian Alvarez, Arsenal, still watching the situation. Julian Alvarez remains one of the biggest names being discussed in connection with Arsenal. The Argentine forward currently plays for Atletico Madrid, but his future has become one of the major transfer stories of the summer. According to reports, Álvarez has expressed a desire to join Barcelona. Atletico Madrid, however, would reportedly prefer another outcome. The Guardian has reported that Atletico would rather sell Álvarez to Arsenal than allow him to join Barcelona because Barcelona are considered a direct competitor in European football. This is an important development because Arsenal could potentially benefit if Barcelona fail to find a way to complete a deal for the Argentine. There have also been reports that Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has personally been involved in the club's interest in Álvarez. Some reports have even claimed that Arteta contacted the player directly as Arsenal considered making another attempt to sign him. But Arsenal supporters should remain careful with these reports. There is still no official confirmation that Arsenal have reached an agreement with Atletico Madrid or with the player. The situation is complicated because Atletico Madrid have repeatedly made it clear that Álvarez remains an important player for the club. The Argentine's absence from Atletico's opening La Liga match has also attracted attention. Reuters reported that Atletico defeated Malaga 2-0, but Álvarez was not involved, with Diego Simeone explaining that the striker had not had enough preparation following the World Cup. That situation has only increased speculation about his future. Could Arsenal really sign Álvarez? This is the big question. Arsenal have been looking for attacking reinforcements, and Álvarez would represent a major signing if the club could somehow complete the transfer. He has experience in the Premier League from his time at Manchester City, knows the demands of English football, and has also performed at the highest level with Argentina. From Arsenal's perspective, his versatility would be extremely valuable. He can operate as a central striker, play behind the striker, and contribute from wider positions. For Arteta, that flexibility could be extremely useful during a long season involving the Premier League, Champions League and domestic competitions, but the biggest obstacle remains the financial side of the deal. Atletico Madrid would not be expected to sell such an important player cheaply, while Barcelona are also interested. Therefore, Arsenal may need a very strong financial package and potentially a clear indication from Álvarez that he is willing to move to North London. For now, the situation remains open. Gabriel Martinelli, a big question mark at Arsenal. Another major story concerns Gabriel Martinelli. The Brazilian winger has been an important player for Arsenal since arriving from Ituano in 2019. However, his future at the Emirates has suddenly become a major talking point. Martinelli was left out of Arsenal's squad for the Community Shield against Manchester City alongside Nwaneri and Gabriel Jesus. That immediately created speculation that the players could be on their way out of the club. Reports have suggested that several clubs are monitoring Martinelli, including Saudi Arabian side Al Hilal. There has also been interest from Galatasaray. A reported offer of around £38 million from Galatasaray was previously discussed, but Martinelli was reportedly not interested in joining the Turkish club. That does not necessarily mean that Martinelli will leave Arsenal. It simply means that his situation is being closely monitored. Arteta sends an important message. Mikel Arteta has tried to calm some of the speculation. The Arsenal manager has explained that the absence of Martinelli and Nwaneri from the Community Shield squad should not automatically be interpreted as confirmation that the players are being pushed out. Arsenal have a very large squad, and squad management decisions can be influenced by many factors. This is important because transfer rumours can sometimes grow very quickly after a player misses a match. Arteta still considers Martinelli an important player, but the reality is that Arsenal have competition for attacking positions. The arrival of new attacking players could also affect Martinelli's opportunities. That is why the next few weeks could be extremely important for the Brazilian. Why would Arsenal consider selling Martinelli? If Arsenal were to consider selling Martinelli, one of the biggest reasons would be squad planning. Arsenal need to balance their squad, their finances and their transfer ambitions. If the club wants to sign another expensive attacker, player sales could help create space financially and within the squad. Martinelli is still a valuable player, and that means Arsenal could potentially receive a significant transfer fee if they decided to sell him. But there is another side to the story. Martinelli is only 25 years old and has already demonstrated his quality in the Premier League. Selling him could also create another problem for Arteta. If Arsenal sell Martinelli, they would need enough attacking depth to replace his pace, direct running and ability to play from the left side. That is why Arsenal must think carefully before making a final decision. Ethan Nwaneri, another Arsenal star under the spotlight. The second major Arsenal player involved in the transfer speculation is Ethan Nwaneri. The young English midfielder is one of the most exciting talents to come through Arsenal's academy in recent years. However, his future has become uncertain. Nwaneri was also left out of the Community Shield squad, which immediately generated speculation. Reports have linked him with interest from several clubs. There have been reports of interest from clubs in England and Europe, including Liverpool, Milan and RB Leipzig. The situation is particularly interesting because Arsenal know that Nwaneri has enormous potential. The club therefore has to decide whether to keep developing him at the Emirates or allow him to leave if the right offer arrives. Why Nwaneri's future matters. For Arsenal fans, Nwaneri's situation is very different from Martinelli's. Martinelli is an established first-team player, while Nwaneri is still developing. Arsenal have invested heavily in developing young players, and losing one of their biggest academy talents could be a difficult decision. On the other hand, Nwaneri needs regular playing time to continue developing. If Arsenal cannot guarantee him enough minutes, a transfer could potentially become a serious possibility. However, Arsenal could also decide that keeping him is the better long-term strategy. That decision will depend heavily on Arteta, the club's recruitment team and the players' own ambitions. Could Martinelli be involved in a deal for a striker? One of the more interesting rumours surrounding Arsenal is the possibility of Martinelli being connected with a potential deal involving Victor Osimhen. Arsenal have reportedly held discussions with Galatasaray about Osimhen, and reports have suggested that Martinelli and Nwaneri could potentially be part of discussions. However, this should be treated carefully. There is no confirmed swap deal between Arsenal and Galatasaray involving Martinelli and Osimhen. The idea has appeared in reports, but Arsenal fans should wait for reliable confirmation before treating it as a done deal. Arsenal striker search. The Álvarez story is also connected to Arsenal's wider search for a world-class forward. Arteta has made it clear that Arsenal want to improve their attacking options. Álvarez has been one of the names linked with the club, while Victor Osimhen has also emerged as another important target. That means Arsenal could have several options before the transfer window closes. If Álvarez becomes impossible to sign, Arsenal could potentially focus more heavily on Osimhen. This is one reason why the coming days could be extremely important for the Gunners. The big picture for Arsenal are not simply trying to sign players, they are also trying to build a squad capable of competing across multiple competitions. That means Arteta must decide which players are essential, which players can be sold, and which young players should remain at the club. The situations involving Martinelli and Nwaneri demonstrate exactly how difficult that process can be. Both players have talent, but Arsenal must consider what is best for the team in the short term and long term. Meanwhile, Álvarez represents the kind of elite attacking signing that could potentially transform Arsenal's attack, but getting him will not be easy. What happens next? The next stage of this transfer saga will depend on several things. First, Arsenal must decide whether they are prepared to push seriously for Álvarez. Second, Atletico Madrid must decide whether they are willing to negotiate. Third, Álvarez's own preference will be extremely important.